Do you have trouble finishing what you start? More specifically, do you have trouble finishing books that you start to write? Well, if you do, you're not alone, and we're going to talk about that coming up. Hey, guys and gals, boys and girls, authors and author wannabes. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Your old buddy Tim back in the saddle, back here on YouTube. And let me address that 800-pound gorilla that's in the room. I want to thank the folks that have been emailing and asking me if everything's okay, because I cut back on the frequency of this show. I was doing this 5 days a week, and now I'm doing it once or twice. And am I okay? Yeah, I'm cool. I'm great. I'm just busy. Things have gotten really busy. You know, for money, as they say, I make my living as an editor and a ghostwriter, and I've just had a lot of projects come in, and those require time. And as much as I love doing the videos, until more than 900 people discover my brilliance and compensate me for it, I got to keep working for the man. And the man in this case is Wells Fargo, Comcast Cable, and a variety of others. So, yeah, so that's it. Everything's good. I'm just busy. And busy is good. But today we are back and we're talking about things that are going on with you, my friends who are authors and writers. And as always, what I do on this show typically is I will answer a question that has been left in the comments below or sent to me via one of the Facebook groups. And today's question comes from Rich. And Rich says, Tim, I can never seem to finish writing a book. Why is that? Great question, Rich. I love it when people ask me questions like I'm supposed to know them and know their situation and come up with answers, because that's the bottom line, Rich. What is preventing you from finishing a book? Now, it could be a variety of things. I mean, let's just look at it logically. It could be that, like me, life is getting in the way. Maybe the demands from family, friends, your job, etc., are kind of drawing your attention away. If that's the case, well, it is what it is, Rich. Life is getting in the way. Unless you can ask your spouse to give you more time to write, or tell the kids to shut up while you're writing, you're just going to have to deal with that. There's no magic bullet. Now, excuse me, if you are find that you can't finish a book and it's because of things that are involved with the writing process, well, I might can help you a little bit there. So let's talk about that. And as always, I'm looking at my notes because my brain is too old to remember stuff. So I think the thing you've got to do first, Rich, is remember that every book has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you need to know what is going to happen primarily, or in a general sense, along the way. If you start a book with no idea of where the book is going, well, you're probably not going to finish the book, or you're not going to finish it satisfactorily, to your satisfaction, because you don't have a direction in which to write. Now, I argue this point with my friends all the time. You know, you've got your pantsers, the ones that write by the seat of their pants. You got the outliners. I'm kind of a combination of both. But my argument is you got to have a general idea of where a story is going in order to get there. It's the same as, you wouldn't leave your house in Los Angeles, California, and head to Des Moines, Iowa without a map or a GPS or an idea of how to get there. So that's what I see most of all, Rich, is people when they have trouble finishing a book. It's simply because they have no idea what the ending is. And, to that degree, what I always recommend is start with the end in mind. Whenever I start a story, I will always ask a question. What if this happened? What would be the consequences? But then I also look at the end. What's the resolution? If this does happen, forget all the stuff in the middle for a moment. What happens at the end? So that might help you, Rich, is before you start writing a story, know what's going to happen. Know the ending. Now, granted, it may not end that way by the time you get to that point in your writing. You may have a completely different story, but at least you've got a direction to go in. And that's, again, what I see the most. Most authors get stuck simply because they don't know where to go. It's like pulling up to a fork in the road and not knowing where the fork to go, which direction to take. So other things you might do is, again, start with the end in mind. Know where the story is going to go. You've got to have a story arc. Something has to happen between the beginning and the end to make the story, excuse me, to make the story interesting and to hold the reader's attention. You've got to know where that story arc is going again, or you may not get there. You may just run out of steam. Now, if that happens, what I like to do is just step back. Just step away for a little bit, let the story rest, let the characters catch their breath, and then go back and start from the beginning and just read through. And it may be that as you are doing that, you might see where things are running off the rails, and you might see where you're kind of painting yourself into a corner. Hang on a minute. Jesus Louise. Okay, that's better. That's better. But you might see where you've painted yourself into a corner. And by that, I simply mean, and by the way, that was a scratch, not a pick. I simply mean that you've written yourself to a point where your characters have nowhere to go. You've literally written them into a corner, you've written them into a dead end, or a cul-de-sac, depending on the size of your world. So if you do that, just make them step back, find out where your path went awry, and start writing from a different perspective there and see where that goes. Another thing I see a lot, Rich, is authors just lose interest in their own work. I've done that. I can't tell you how many books I have unfinished because I thought they were a great idea, and as I got into writing them, I decided, not so much. And if your book bores you, the author, chances are it's going to bore the reader too, Rich. So that may be it. Another thing you can do is when you step back, take a look at not just the story, but your characters, your scene, your plot. Somewhere along the way, Rich, something's fallen off the truck. You need to back up, check the ditches, check the roadkill, and get it back on the truck. It might be that your characters were not they didn't maintain the strength and intensity that was required to carry the story through. Or you may have had a character do something that was completely out of character, and we've talked about that in a previous video. So as you are going back through, Rich, look at every little thing. Make believe you are Quincy, the coroner of 70s television, and just look at every little thing and every little nuance and try to figure out why this story has died and what you have to do to bring it back. And again, a lot of those times it'll just be your characters have gone off the rails, your scenes are not as fully fleshed out or as interesting, or you've taken the story in a direction that basically has led you to a dead end. So, and at the end of the day, Rich, it may just be that this is not a story that is worth writing. Again, I've got a lot of digital books on the computers back here that I thought were great ideas until I got a third or a fourth of the way through, and then I went, just not going to do it for me. So it may be that you can't finish writing the book, Rich, simply because the book doesn't need to be finished. And again, that's a call that only you and the reader will be able to make. So, hey, Rich, I hope that was helpful. Catch your breath, take a step back, look at everything you've done, see if you can identify where things have gone astray and get them back on the path. Or take another fork and go down a completely different path. Hey, I hope that was helpful, Rich. I appreciate it. Just because I used your question on the program, you get a free digital copy of one of my books, Angel of Mercy or Sins of the Father. I'll be in touch with you, Rich, to figure out which one you want. Hey, if you have a question you would like me to address on this show, in between all the throat clearing and the nose scratching, I'm happy to do it. Just drop it in the comments below. And if I use your question like Rich, you will get a free digital copy of one of my books. Hey, also, don't forget to subscribe and like this channel. And gosh, if enough people do that, maybe I'll be able to quit this day job of writing and editing and publishing and just do this full time. I'll be like an oracle. The old guy on top of the mountain who just answers questions from people who climb the mountain. I'm not quite sure what the going rate for oracles, what that rate is these days, but I'm pretty sure it's more than I'm making doing this. So, hey, Rich, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. Keep writing, and hopefully today I helped you become a better writer.
Bye.